When I first got there and met all the kids from all around the country, I wasn't really sure what to think. I was a little hesitant to talk to any of them at first, but after a while, after working with them, I realized that they're just like me, just kids there trying to help and doing the exact same thing I'm doing. And I ended up getting along with them really well and had a blast with them. And it was a good experience meeting kids from other countries, other parts of the country. And yeah, it was an experience. What I thought about the members of the church that we stayed at, I thought they were pretty amazing because, I mean, we saw the pictures of the damage that happened to that church and all the money and time and effort put into rebuilding it and making it as great as it looks now. I think it's amazing that they let all of us, all the teenagers, stay in there, sleep in there, use the showers, bathrooms, even let all those teenage girls stay in the sanctuary. I thought that was pretty amazing, and I was very thankful.
When I first joined youth group in 2005, I didn't really know that I was going to join. I was actually just going with Mackenzie to a fun carnival. But I really felt a connection there, and for me that was big because I really didn't have much of a background in any church. But it really meant a lot to me that I felt so welcomed here and that I was able to just jump into something in 8th grade without any background in it and just totally immerse myself, and that I was fully accepted here. So it was a really good experience for me. And over the years through that, I guess not only did I grow up as just a student or as whoever I am, but I also figured out who I was and what I stood for. And a lot of that was because at this youth group, we're really into doing as opposed to just talking. Like, everybody can speak Christian, but not everybody can do Christian. And it really meant a lot to me that we were so big on reaching out and touching others, because that's what I do. It's what I want to do with my life. And so it was really, I think it's really easy to just jump into Faith Lutheran and then become a part of it and then grow in it. And it becomes a big part of who you are. And I never expected that. But leaving after my senior year, I was able to take a lot with me, like my Kiva loans. That was a big thing that would never have started if I hadn't come here. And just the general heart of activism that I have, I definitely gained that coming to youth group and stuff.
When we visited the lower 9th Ward, I was really surprised that so many houses were still destroyed from the hurricane 5 years ago. I knew that there'd be some damage, but there was really nothing there, just completely destroyed houses that no one can live in and haven't even been rebuilt.
While we were walking through it and driving past all the houses, it really started to make you think how it looked before, and it also made you wonder that there were people there living their lives just like ours, just walking down the streets and now seeing how much it's been destroyed. I mean, it's crazy to think that's where people live. The last couple of days, my group went to a daycare center to work with little kids that had been affected by the hurricane, and we basically just played games with them, put on little plays, and I think the thing that amazed me the most about the kids was they're just like every other little kid you'll meet anywhere in the country. And, you know, all they want to do is just have a good time, just run around and play, smile. You know, I mean, you would have never even imagined what they had to go through, and yet they're still so happy, and there's still so much hope for them. And it's really amazing to see how hard they're trying and how happy they are.
Going to New Orleans, we knew what to expect, but we didn't know what we were going to be feeling. We knew what we were going to see, but we had no idea, like, everything that would hit us really, really hard. And so we saw the newsreels, and we were able to see pictures online of all the devastation that happened there. And you'd think, okay, it's been 5 years, and we're okay. But you head down there, and it's not that the devastation was still there. Things were cleaned up a little bit, and communities were putting themselves back together. But it was when you got to talk to people, that's where you really, really saw it and felt it, and that's where you saw everything that hasn't changed in the 5 years that we've been doing work and cleaning up the community. But it was really tough, especially talking to kids who were maybe just born when that happened, or they were 2 or 3 years old when Katrina hit, and they knew what it was and they knew what happened and they saw it, but they didn't feel it the same. They felt a different kind of desperation, and that was even worse in my opinion, because these little kids were forced to grow up with a total depression around them, and it wasn't their choice, and it wasn't anything that they could relate to, except for the fact that they were forced into it.
All right, so my job in New Orleans, once we got there, I was under the impression that we'd be building houses because we were told hurricane relief. But we got there, they're like, okay, you're going to be watching these kids, and that's not really my cup of tea, really. So since I'm older, I was only 118 there. Besides Lauren, I was with the older kids. So it was a bit of a different experience, and I got to hear some of their stories, which was pretty interesting, because I remember when Hurricane Katrina happened, and what it was you're seeing these pictures of the houses and the people walking the street. But when you look at the pictures, you never like say that, oh, that person like really exists. You look at it, you glance over, go to the next page of the paper. So it was weird to see. Like, I remember when Hurricane Katrina happened, and I'm seeing the people who are still feeling those effects 5 years later, and they were just like babies when it happened. So that Hurricane Katrina totally changed their whole lives, and it was a real eye-opener.
When we first got to Apex, the lady who was running it sat us down and kind of told us about the lives that the kids that we were going to be watching were coming from, and basically what we got was gun violence. One of the guys who was working there showed us where he got shot on his street, and so I was a little nervous to find out exactly what I was going to be working with, but when they showed up, they were unruly. They didn't have a guide anywhere, and it was really hard to deal with them. But afterwards, it felt good because they needed some guidance, and from where they were living was horrible broken down homes and like violence and people shooting people. The mothers were trying to sneak their children into the Apex. I had the youngest boy, he was 3. The ages were supposed to be like 5 to 13, and then I had a 3-year-old because the mother snuck him in there so he wouldn't be on the streets while she was working.
The thing I liked most about the mission trip was my first place that I went, and it was to different schools, and we worked with another group, the American Corps, and we packed up boxes of old schools that were really torn down from the flood, and they told us that before the flood that there was a lot of schools built up, but after there was only about like 7, and all the kids from a bunch of schools had to cram into 7, so all the schools got really torn down and they were already beat up before. So it was really inspiring to like help pack up boxes and so they can move into a new school. And that was my favorite place, and even though we couldn't see the kids in their faces, but it was still really fulfilling to help them with that.
I think the reason that I like going on the mission trips is that they're just genuinely fun, but they also like you get to help out people, and like when those two things are together, it's like a win-win. But yeah, it's really fun, and you meet tons of different people, and I think because of them, like I've learned and met a lot of different ideas and met different people, and that I probably wouldn't have met anyway otherwise. And so yeah, it's
I decided to go to Tanzania, Africa this summer because of the spark that's, started the explosion that I got here in youth group. Was that the joy I got from helping people that I never really got to experience before, maybe volunteering at a food shelter or something, but not so personal with the people. And Africa just seemed like a really good place, broaden my horizons, explore a little bit of culture, and it should be really fun. I'm going to be building houses and building schoolhouses and teaching English and math to little kids, and so I'll be right there with the people. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. It's the longest I've ever been away from home, and it's probably going to be one of the most rewarding experiences that I think I've ever had, and it's all because of this youth group. I wouldn't have even thought to go, but...
Before I went to New Orleans, I was struggling in my faith for a number of reasons, personal, situational, but once I was there, it was almost impossible not to believe in God. And once I was with people from around the country who were here for one reason, just to help these people and to connect with them and to get to know who they were and what they went through, it was really difficult for me not to believe in God, and so it was really great for me in terms of my faith. I consider the day I got my faith back to where it was before, when we went to the City of Love Church, and Lester Love, the pastor, they were just singing, and for me, I connect to God through music really easily because I'm a music-oriented person. So when they were singing, I just broke down crying. And I remember John looked at me from across the church, and he was sort of like, oh my gosh, is she okay? Because I was just bawling. And it was a really great experience because I totally lost it. And it's one of those things where in order to get something back, sometimes you just have to totally lose yourself. And that's what I did. I lost myself in Christ, and I found myself again after that.